Hey everyone, been a pretty busy week for me. Haven't done Arizona Cardinals Cast. I know a lot of you are probably like, oh, you're just depressed over the Seahawks game. A little bit. Today, anyways, I want to salute the troops. Happy Veterans Day to, I'm sure many of you have family, friends, maybe your spouse is active or former military. I just want to thank all of the troops, all of you do for this country. I really appreciate all you do. We support a lot of our freedoms that we take for granted, thanks to you. Anyways, today we could talk about the preview for the Rams. I'm going to say, honestly, who cares? How are the Cardinals going to win? I don't know. Score more points than the Rams. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury finally, in his last game, probably against Sean McVay, actually outcoaches him, or at least, who cares? Who cares? The season's over, as I've told you. Maybe they have a slim chance at a wild card, but let's be honest, this team is not going anywhere. After what we saw in the second half last week, Budda Baker's now out for a couple weeks. Let's just not really talk about this season in context. I feel like it's kind of like, kind of out in the abyss, out in kind of the Cardinals have kind of entered, let's just call it, they've entered the great beyond. And there isn't really, for the present, there isn't really much to talk about. We're going to talk about the future as the season kind of treks towards the end. You'd like to see a little bit of pride. You'd like to see DeAndre, Kyler. Hopefully Budda Baker makes it back. I bet he'll probably return after the bye. Maybe J.J. Watt goes out strong. Pretty sure J.J. Watt won't be here next year. Really, as I said, there's really not much to grab onto, if you know what I mean, for the Cardinals for the rest of this season. So, let's talk about something that's going to be fun to talk about, I think, over the next 5-6 weeks or so. It's a hard knock life for us. I know, I'm singing some Jay-Z for you, but soon to be possibly the owner of the Washington Commandos, by the way. Anyways, so let's react to Hard Knocks. What did I gather from it? I gathered maybe a little bit that Steve Keim is Michael Bidwell's boy. I know that the GM usually watched the games with the owner, but it feels like almost like, I don't know. I got the feeling from watching it that I don't think Steve Keim's job is on the line. And I know a lot of Cardinals fans. I had arguments, and I even said people are going to give me a lot of for this, a lot of crap, let's just say, on Twitter, that I honestly, even though I think Kingsbury loses his job, I do not think Steve Keim is going to lose his job. And it kind of shows there, and I know that Michael Bidwell, you're kind of saying, hey, he's endorsing mediocrity. Which I don't know. Maybe I have low sports self-esteem being an Arizona sports fan, seeing all these bad Diamondbacks teams and kind of underperforming Suns teams over the years that I'm just not used to being a true winner. But I also will say this: there actually is something endearing about, and I know I appreciate what Kyle Odegaard said the other day about, I guess Michael Bidwell watches film. I hear that Jerry Jones, Jeffrey Lurie, there's a lot of owners that actually sit down and watch film. And, they own the team. If they want to come and sit down with the coaching staff and watch film, I don't think that any coach, like, how big is your ego that you can't show that you would feel threatened if the owner comes and watches film with you. That's my response to that, Kyle, is that I actually think that it's not necessarily an indictment. I actually am going to applaud Michael Bidwell here that he's been very patient, because a lot of us fans, myself included, felt like after this game against Seattle that Kingsbury probably should get the boot, because I really think that was pretty. I feel like that loss was the loss that pretty much buried him. That was pretty much this is not going to work. Cliff and Kyler, there's something off. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, you heard, hey, what are you looking at, one? DeAndre Hopkins was saying, DeAndre Hopkins, and I know that those guys have a good relationship, DeAndre and Kyler. I don't think that, I think that's just, two competitive guys. DeAndre Hopkins really wants to win. And I think that that's just a little bit of a frustration. The big play against Seattle obviously was, I felt like early in the game, the Cardinals had momentum. 3rd and 1, Billy Price snaps the ball over Kyler Murray's head, blowing that drive. And then the next drive, 2 consecutive pre-snap penalties. makes it 3rd and 18. Kyler dumps it off to James Conner, and that's when DeAndre Hopkins just loses his mind because he had one-on-one coverage, 3rd and 18, throw an arm punt. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You get it up there, Kyler. Maybe DeAndre, there's a good chance, probably 75% chance, maybe better, that DeAndre is going to come down and catch the ball. And another thing is just it stinks he got injured late in that game. I know he was already dealing with nursing an injured ankle, but Budda Baker is just the dude. He's just a true leader. Seeing him, how can you not? It gives you goosebumps. Seeing him after that Eagles game, just screaming, being just how tired he is of losing. And you got to remember, he was on this team in 2018, the Steve Wilkes year. Hey, congratulations to Steve Wilkes for getting your 5th career coaching win yesterday over the Atlanta Falcons in a rainstorm. Good for you, buddy. The quarterback threw 13 pass attempts. Yeah. Anyways, back to the Cardinals. He's been through a lot of losing. You remember that Budda Baker came in this team in 2017. This was after the successful Carson Palmer years. This was kind of at the tail end when the Cardinals, 2017, Cardinals were a pretty average team that year. Actually, you could even say below average. They were lucky to win 8 games that season. That was the year that Carson Palmer got injured in London and never saw a football field again after that, with the first of many Sean McVay bludgeonings of the Arizona Cardinals happened that day. So he's tired of losing. He's tired of losing. He's a great player, and he's just tired of being on a losing team. Now, back full circle to Steve Keim. A lot of fans are going to want him gone. I'm telling you, I would be shocked if Steve Keim gets fired. But I think Kingsbury, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Bidwell. I will tell you this. Keim's job might be on the line. If they go, let's say, 5-12 this year, maybe he's gone. As I said, I think Kingsbury needs to win 6 of the final 8 to even have a chance to save his job. I think even if they finish strong, like circle back to the 2020 Los Angeles Chargers, Anthony Lynn won his last 4 games, but early in the season, all those blown losses with the talented rookie quarterback and the talented roster did him in. It was just, and of course, I actually think Anthony Lynn is like twice as good of a coach as the coach the Chargers have now. By the way, I have criticized Brandon Staley time and time again, how he's just kind of a smart book nerd who doesn't really look at the feel of a football game and more just looks at his little play sheet in terms of how to run a game. Anyways, back to the Cardinals. I don't know. My takeaway is Baker's demand. Kyler Murray, I don't know why Kyler Murray's getting criticism. It seems like Kyler Murray's just not very verbal. That's what I got. It was an interesting question. He asked how many pre-snap penalties we had at the end of the game. That's because that's where Cliff is in trouble. And also, man, Cliff Kingsbury has a cool house. That's another takeaway, I guess. Anyways, what are the 5 keys to beat the Rams? Let's see. Matt Stafford doesn't play. Kyler Murray plays. John Wolford throws multiple interceptions. Cardinals score more points than the Rams, and I don't know. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury misses the flight to Los Angeles. There's my 5. There's my 5 keys to victory on Sunday. Yay! Let's go Cardinals! Man, what a terrible game. These 2 teams played each other in the playoffs just 10 months ago. Now it's just dreadful, dreadful, dreadful watch on Sunday. I'd rather watch, honestly, Jeff Saturday at the Raiders between 2 kind of equally bad teams to see exactly, because that's just going to be an interesting watch to see what the hell happens there. Anyways, thank you. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Sue Drew. I appreciate you all. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. We will talk about the game on Sunday, sadly.